Chapter 7. Dink, Josh, Ruth Rose left Mavis at Ellie's diner, then headed for Dink's house. Dink made tuna sandwiches and lemonade. Ruth Rose bought a bag of potato chips and some raisin cookies from her house next door. They ate at the picnic table in Dink's backyard. Dink took a bite of his sandwich. After he swallowed, he said, "Let's go over what we know." He moved his lemonade glass to the middle of the table. "My glass is the airport," he said. "We know Wallis Wallace landed." "How do we know he did?" Josh asked. "The airport told me the plane landed, Josh. And Maureen Higgins said that she picked him up," Ruth Rose added. "Okay, so your glass is the airport," Josh said. "Keep going, Dink." Dink slid his sandwich plate over next to his glass. "My plate is Maureen's taxi." He put a cookie on the plate. "The cookie is Wallis Wallace getting into the taxi." Dink slid the plate over to the opened potato chip bag. "This bag is the hotel." He walked the Wallis Wallace cookie from the plate into the bag. Dink looked at Josh and Ruth Rose. But what happened to Wallis Wallace after he walked into the lobby? "I'll tell you what happened," Josh said. He lined up 4 cookies in a row. The little cookie is Mr. Patsky. The 3 are Maureen, Mr. Linkletter, and Olivia Nugent. Josh looked up and waggled his eyebrows. "I think these 4 cookies planned the kidnapping together." Ruth Rose laughed. "Josh, Mr. Patsky and Livy Nugent are friends of ours. Do you really think they planned this big kidnapping? And can you see Mr. Linkletter and my babysitter pulling off a kidnapping together?" Josh ate a potato chip. "Well, maybe not, but someone kidnapped the guy. Our trail led us to the hotel and then it ended." Dink said, "Well, what I want to know is if Wallis Wallace isn't in his room, where is he?" Dink nibbled on a cookie thoughtfully. "I'm getting a headache trying to sort it all out." Ruth Rose dug into Dink's backpack and brought out 3 Wallis Wallace books. "I have an idea." She handed books to Dink and Josh and kept one. "What are these for?" Dink added. "Josh made me think of something Wallis Wallace wrote in The Mystery in the Museum," Ruth said. "He said that more you know about the victim, the easier it is to figure out who did the crime." She turned to the back cover of her book. "So let's try to find out more about our victim. Listen to this," she started, reading aloud. "When not writing, the author likes to work in the garden. Naturally, Wallis Wallace's favorite color is green." "Fine," said Josh, "but how does knowing his favorite color help us find him, Ruth Rose?" "I don't know, but maybe if we read more about him, we'll discover some clues," Ruth Rose said. "What does it say on the back of your book?" Josh flipped the book over and began reading. "Wallis Wallace lives in a castle called Moose Manor." He looked up. "We already knew he lived in a castle. I don't see any clues yet, you guys." Ruth Rose stared at Josh. "You know, something is bugging me, but I can't figure out what it is. Something someone said today, maybe." She shook her head. "Anyway, read yours, Dink." Dink read the back cover of his book, Wallis Wallace Gives Money from Writing Books to Help Preserve the Wild Animals That Live in Maine. Okay, he gives money away to save animals, lives in a castle, and grows a bunch of green stuff, Josh said, counting on his fingers. Still no clues. Josh took another cookie. But I just thought of something, he began, slowly munching on the cookie. Dinks raised his eyebrows. Are you going to tell us, Josh? Well, I was thinking about room 302. Remember? Someone signed the register after Wallis Wallace checked into room 303, and the signature was all smudged. And then Olivia Nugent told us that the room 302 had a do not disturb sign on it. Ruth Rose interrupted. Livy never went into the room at all. Just then, Dink's mother drove up the driveway. She got out of the car, waved, and started walking toward the picnic table. Oh no, Dink said. If Mom finds out I'm trying to find a kidnapper, she won't let me out of the house. Don't say anything, okay? Can I even say hi, Josh asked. Dink threw a potato chip at Josh. Say hi, then shut up, and you know what. Hello, Mrs. Duncan, Josh said, sliding a look at Dink. Hi, kids. How was the book signing? Tell me all about Wallis Wallace, Dink. Is he as wonderful as you expected? Dink stared at his mother. He didn't want to lie, but if he told her the truth, she wouldn't let him keep looking for Wallis Wallace. And Dink had a sudden feeling that they were very close to finding him. We can't stop now, he thought. He looked at his mother and grinned stupidly. Dink, honey, why is your mouth open? He closed his mouth. Think, Dink, he ordered himself. Suddenly, Josh knocked over his lemonade glass. The sticky, cold liquid spilled into Dink's lap. Dink let out a yowl and jumped up. Gee, sorry, said Josh. Paper towels to the rescue. Dink's mother ran towards the house. Good thinking, Josh, Dink said, wiping at his wet jeans. But did you have to spill it on me? You had the whole yard. Josh grinned. Some people are never satisfied. I got you out of hot water, didn't I? Right into cold lemonade, Ruth Rose said. Dink blotted his jeans with a handful of paper napkins. Come on, let's go meet Mavis before my mother comes back. There's something weird happening on the third floor of the Shangri-La.